What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And me and my wife just got back from watching Captain America: Civil War, and I thought I'd do a review for this because I think I'm going to do a lot of movie reviews going forward. Whenever I actually get my fat ass up and out to an actual theater for the movies we're seeing in a theater, I'm going to go do that. As usual, whenever I do one of these reviews, I'm going to do it spoiler free. So right now you can see the Civil War logo here, Captain America and Iron Man there. When this is on this side of me in the in this video, you'll know that I'm talking about spoiler-free stuff. When I move it over to here, and I'll give you a big audio cue as well, know that that's going to be spoilerific. But I'm gonna try to do the first half of this review entirely spoiler-free, as I've been doing this before. So spoiler-free. What did I think of the movie? I thought it was fantastic. I went in there with pretty high expectations, and this movie greatly exceeded these expectations. And I think it's at like 92% at Rotten Tomatoes. So I was very surprised that the critics agreed that it was a good movie. I don't know exactly what I expected. I have never read the comics. I've read a couple of the comics. And I won't spoil even of the things that happen in the comics. But I will say that I have read the comics and I watched some previews of what might happen based on the comics in this movie. It is vastly different from what I was expecting, having known what happens in the comics. However, it was still really, really good. I loved everything that the main characters are doing, the main Avengers, all of that. I loved all of that. I especially loved what the side characters are doing. That really brought a lot to the table. And once again, what I'm so amazed about Marvel movies and what they've been doing with them lately is they managed to do that nice mix of a little bit of comedy scattered in between the drama, and it just, I don't know, it breaks the tension and then lets you rebuild tension, or breaks the tension and rebuilds it. I loved the dialogue was written well, the plot was written well, everything was filmed well, the fights were incredible. Everything just seemed on point. Like, this is a very polished movie. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, I think. And it was overall pretty good. I think a lot of people are, I don't know. I saw some people going into this movie saying they're afraid that the stakes seem high, but are they really high? Because it's not like they're going to, kill off anybody magnificent or crazy or anything like that. And I know that's always true in the Marvel universe. You worry about that. And even in the comic book universe, if you kill somebody, it doesn't mean anything, right? I still feel like they did a good job working within those parameters of knowing that they have to be careful, that they can't do any real permanent damage to the universe. I feel like they just nailed it. I feel like they nailed it from the beginning credits to the last stinger. There are 2 stingers, by the way. You'll want to stick around for both. I think they did a great job. So yes, go see this movie. I don't think necessarily you have to see it on an opening weekend because there's nothing really big to be spoiled about it. There's like no crazy whatever, nobody's going to be able to spoil it for you in one sentence on Twitter, like the Star Wars film. But you definitely want to see this at some point. It's exactly, geez, there's something I want to say about it, but I feel like it's a little bit spoilerific, so I guess I should save that for the spoiler section. But it's excellent. It's an excellent film. All right, let's get into the spoiler stuff then. There we go. Oh, okay, here we go. Spoiler time. Spoiler time. Spoiler time. Spoiler time. Spoiler time. All right. Holy shit, was this a good movie? Okay, this is the thing I wanted to say. This feels like, to me, the Empire Strikes Back moment for, the Avengers and for the Marvel Universe. Like, it ends on a down note, and there's a lot of down moments, and there's a lot of real darkness and real tension to it, and I loved it. And the fact that Spider-Man even kind of mentions that. Spider-Man even kind of talks about the fact, he mentions the movie Empire. And speaking of Spider-Man, what a cool Spider-Man. My favorite thing is, obviously, they wanted to separate this Spider-Man from every other Spider-Man that's ever existed. This Spider-Man is very, very different. I think the nod to Aunt May being such a unique character, so different from any other Aunt May you would ever expect. I mean, she's hot. Marissa Tomei is hot. That's who played her, right? Marissa Tomei. She's hot. I've always thought she was hot. That said, it was cool to see that. It was cool that they did just 6 months into getting into his powers, he gets picked up by Iron Man, he gets tapped by Iron Man, he gets the cool suit. That's a great way for him to get the suit. I love that take on Spider-Man. And again, spoiler, 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 the stinger that shows that Spider-Man will be back makes me so happy. I love him in the Marvel Universe. It's so much better than what Sony's doing with him. And also, I think Spider-Man kind of stole the show, for me especially. Then you got, of course, Black Panther, who I know nothing about. I've never read a Black Panther comic. I've never seen him in a comic before in my life. I've never seen a movie about him or anything. I don't know if the original character's from Africa or is that just something they did here. I don't know. I don't care. I think this Black Panther was incredible. They established his motivation from the very beginning. He was well acted. He did a great job. I know there's some people out there who celebrate that he added a little bit of diversity to the cast. That matters to them. It matters to me a little bit too. I love that. I think he is just an overall great character. Does not feel shoehorned in. Does not feel anything weird. He just feels like he fits on the screen. I love that too. Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. What? I mean, that was so good. That was so good. Why was Paul Rudd so funny and so good? And the fact that they could write these smaller parts into this movie and write them well and have them be performed so well by these A-list actors, it just, wow. It's something I've never seen in cinema history before. I don't know you'll ever see it again. It's just perfect. It's just perfect. So one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about here in the spoiler section was the fight sequences, right? Like, obviously, there's the overall plot with Bucky and the guy trying to find the assassins and trying to eliminate Bucky and all that stuff. And obviously, he's trying to set the Avengers against each other, which he successfully does. And that's why I feel like it's the Empire Strikes Back, because now you've got the half of the Avengers and half of the Avengers in secret, hidden. They're criminals, they're outlaws, they're jailbroken. Like, obviously, that sucks for them. Then you got the other Avengers that can't work with them. They've ruined the Avengers Initiative. Everything's gone to shit. S.H.I.E.L.D. has gone to shit. In the television universe, it's a dark, dark time for the Marvel Universe, and I love it. And it does it differently than the way that DC tries to do dark. I feel DC's dark is too dark. This is dark enough to still have a little bit of levity. But this is what I loved about the movie. This is my favorite part about the movie. It seemed self-aware. And even the characters seemed kind of self-aware. So you have the original fight, the big blowout with all the different heroes at the airport. And, you can tell they're pulling punches. And they don't want to do any real permanent damage. But, and you think the fight's going to end prematurely. So they do that little moment where they fight for a little while, then they face each other off, and you think they're going to come to some sort of agreement. And you expect that. That's what I loved about this movie. They threw these little things at you that you expected it to follow the formula, and it doesn't follow the formula. So at that moment where they're facing off on the airport, you think, all right, well, this is where they wrap it up. 3 minutes into the fight. Nope, 10 more minutes of just insane shit happening. Just completely insane shit. Peter Parker saying the stupidest, funniest shit. Man. So then you go from that fight, and then it gets a little serious for sure, right? I mean, it gets genuinely very, very serious. But not as serious as the final fight does between Cap and Iron Man. It really feels like in that final fight when Tony finds out the big secret and the gloves come off, or I guess I should say the gloves come on because he's Iron Man. But the gloves come off and they beat the living shit out of each other. And the emotion that was in that fight, the motivation to beat each other to death in that fight, after they had done all of this shit to each other, was beautiful and brilliant. And the fight went about the way I expected it to go. And it was awesome. I mean, it was fucking good. And then, of course, they left it kind of on a cliffhanger, down note, where the initiative has been signed, or whatever they call it, the UN, God, what is it called? The agreement by the UN. Half of them have signed it. The other half are outlaws. There is no resolution. I was so worried that they were going to try to begin and end Civil War right there in the beginning of this one movie. And they kind of resolved it. I mean, Tony's no longer mad at Cap, and Cap's no longer mad at Tony. I mean, they're still mad at each other, but not mad at each other. Like, I guess, they'll call on each other if the world is in peril. But they're still pretty pissed off at each other. And everything's still shitty. And that's what this movie needed to do. That's what they had to do to get it right. And they did it. And it was so awesome. And again, like right at the beginning, at the end, when they go off to find the assassins, and they find the assassins dead in their crypt, he's like, you thought I would want more of you? I'm here just to destroy you fucking idiots. I don't care about them. I care about ruining your lives. What a good villain. What a good villain. Just, man, I don't know what else to say about the movie other than I really can't wait to see a second time. It was definitely a Captain America film because they definitely focused mostly on Cap, which I thought, obviously you got the title role, Captain America Civil War. And normally the Captain America films are not my favorite. I think like Thor's all the way down here for me. I don't really like the Thor movies. And then Cap's just a little bit above that. They're okay. This one was just amazing. It just all star-studded cast, written perfectly, filmed perfectly, acted, fighting choreography perfectly with some plot to man, it's everything I want a Marvel movie to be. What a time to be alive. What a time to be a nerd. All right, guys. I look forward to seeing the movie a second time. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments section below if I should do more reviews like this. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you liked it. Tell me what your favorite parts of the movies were so that I can reminisce with you. Guys, I love you very much. Thanks for watching. I'll speak with you again soon.